Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Hey, it's Brian Perez. No yacht rot lyrics today, I promise, at least not during the opening monologue. We're in the New Life Live studio for 2 hours today, helping you break free from addiction, substance abuse, or any kind of destructive habit. Call us at 1-800-229-3000. And offering their services to you for free today, our licensed marriage and family therapist, Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris. Hi, Jacqui.
Hi.
And Jim Burns is here too. Dr. Jim is the founder of Homeward, who walked into the studio with a notebook full of ideas. But how about you just get us started with one, Jim?
Hey, today I want to talk about finding joy in the empty nest. Now, some of our listeners aren't empty nesters, so they're going, why would I care to listen to this? What I find is that people don't prepare for the empty nest. And I'll be honest with you, Kathy and I did not prepare. So when we dropped Heidi off, she's our youngest, with an emphasis on youngest, all of the young child things. We dropped her off, spent a couple of days. As we were driving back, we got real quiet. And then I looked over at Kathy. There's a tear rolling down her cheek. I said, "You're okay, babe? You want to go get something to eat or anything?" We're now passing through Santa Barbara. Our daughter went to a school called Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. She goes, "No, I'm good. I just want to get home." And we were just, by the time we got home, both of us were depressed. And what I realized was for Kathy, although she's a expert in the world of autism and different things that she worked with during that time, she was the sun, and we had 3 daughters who were revolving around the sun as planets, and then me at the home. I was the 4th, not the daughter, but I was still kind of doing that too. And she had lost her way, so to speak. She's the one who would say this. She experienced what we call the empty nest syndrome. I didn't think I did. And then one time a friend of mine pointed out, well, you just go to work earlier and you stayed at work later, so you're going through the same thing. See?
Okay.
And I think a lot of our listeners actually don't prepare for the empty nest, or when they're in the empty nest, they don't realize that they may be in the empty nest longer than with kids. And so I think it's a pretty good idea for us to think about a couple of principles. One of the principles I wanted to share was this one. When your child leaves home and their life fills up with fresh experiences, follow their lead. So I think it's time to do some fresh experience. Don't just fill your life, but do some good things. I know people who have gone back and got their counseling degree, Jackie. I know people who have started gardening. They joined a Bible study. They went and got themselves in physical health, whatever it was. It doesn't mean that you're just changing the relationship with your kids. Yeah. There's a scripture that was very important to me in my empty nest beginnings. It says, "Be alert, be present. I'm about to do something brand new. It's bursting out. Don't you see it? There it is." That's Isaiah 43:19. It's just, we're about to do something brand new. So I think for us who are in the empty nest, it's important for us to actually understand that, life is going to be different, but it doesn't have to be terrible. And another principle for me is celebrate this as a rite of passage in our own life, embrace that positive change. And then, there's a phrase that I think about a lot, that significance is never accidental. That if we're going to live our lives with significance and meaning, and a lot of people, when they join the empty nest, they bury their marital issues. Well, the marital issues have been buried under the mat. Now, sometimes they're single as well, and so they've got to renew their life and reinvent their life. And when people do that, I find that they find great, deep joy in the empty nest.
Yeah. Jackie, any thoughts?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I just would agree. And I didn't prepare either, but we worked it out. I took my week off and cried all week. And then I got back to work, and I've just been grateful for the way in which my daughter launched, both of my daughters. And so we find our way. You have to figure out, what are you going to do next?
Yeah, right.
So if you find yourself in this situation currently, or maybe you're about to, I know school started recently or is about to start, so maybe you're at home right now wondering, what do I do? They're all gone. Give us a call. We're going to be here for 2 hours today. 1-800-229-3000 is our number. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you see the number there on the bottom of your screen. Call in.
The Life Recovery Conference is online Saturday, October 4th. It isn't just for those struggling with addiction. It's for anyone ready to break free from destructive patterns and build a foundation for lasting change. Our expert speakers will equip you with biblical tools to face life's toughest challenges and find real transformation. You'll walk away with practical strategies to overcome anxiety, shame, and relational struggles, plus biblical wisdom for grief, finances, and identity. You'll also gain tools to recognize unhealthy patterns and clear action steps to choose wisdom every day. The Life Recovery Conference is for everyone. Whether you're just beginning your journey, looking for fresh tools, supporting a loved one, or leading others, you'll find hope, direction, and encouragement. Change starts with one step. Register today for the Choosing Wisdom New Life Recovery Conference at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
If you've not had a chance to peruse our new website design, check it out, newlife.com. And if you have looked around, come back because there is so much more to see there. It's like going to Disney World. You can't do it all in one day. And our website is a whole lot cheaper than Disney World, might I add. You can find the professional guidance, biblical accountability, and community support you need to rise out of life's valleys and step into the abundant life God has for you. New design, same address, newlife.com. 1-800-229-3000 is our number, and let's go to Washington, D.C. Here is Tommy listening on WAVA. Welcome, Tommy, to New Life Live. You're on with Doctors Jim Burns and Jacqui Mack-Harris.
Thank you. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Doing well.
So my question is about claustrophobia. I've suffered from claustrophobia since I was about 4 years old, with the exception of about 10 years when I was in my late 20s. I think I don't know, somehow repressed it and was able to do things that I guess the suffering from claustrophobia didn't allow me to do before. I had another incident that after that 10 years that brought it all back, and I'm suffering from it again. So I was just wondering if you guys had any suggestions on how to overcome it.
Okay. Jacqui?
Are you working with anyone, Tommy? Are you seeing a therapist right now to work on it?
No, I was wondering, and I don't want to be offensive with this question, but I was wondering if there was like some self-help that I could do on my own. But the answer to your question is no.
Yeah,
so.
That is not offensive at all. I just think that it's important to have support when you're dealing with something that seems like it's probably due to some trauma, some hard, scary experience that you had. So having community, having support, I think is pretty important as you're walking through, trying to immerse yourself in this experience that you're, having a hard time with. Because what I would typically do would be some immersion. We would, find ways to have you experience being in a space that you're not comfortable in and, work with that until we got you to a place where you were comfortable, but it would be something that I would do in therapy. I'm not aware of any self-help books or anything on the topic. How about you, Jim?
Well, there could be some books, although I'm with Jacqui. This is something that can be overcome, usually can be overcome with therapy. I'm big on that. And so honestly, I would go there, but some of the books on, you can find self-help type books and see how they work for you on obsessive compulsive behavior, on something like PTSD. But then you're kind of doing your own therapy. Now, I suggest to people that they do their own personal work whenever they can and read everything you can on those kind of things. But a professional may help guide you, Tommy, a little bit more effectively, because part of it is what's the bottom line. And when somebody has claustrophobia or actually any kind of a fear, a lot of times it deals with some other what we would call a potential psychological disorder. So sometimes that's caused by PTSD. Maybe there was some deep trauma. Maybe you had something happen to you when you were younger and you have to think through that. Separation anxiety, and like I said, obsessive compulsive behavior. A lot of people who have phobias have obsessive compulsive behavior. Those are things that come natural to a counselor. They hear about this stuff every day. In Jacqui's office, she's talking to somebody, through some of those issues every day. Where with you, it's not, or with me, it's actually not. I don't think enough about that either. But because you're dealing with it, how much better for you to have somebody come alongside you. When the Bible says that where there is no counsel, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. This is one that I always say to somebody, walk through this with somebody and ask them ahead of time, do you deal with phobias, and do you deal with actually specifically my issue? And if they do, then you're going to be surprised at how they might be able to help you get through this process. Because what you want to do is not just repress. You talked about that in your 20s. Yeah, that worked for a while. That's cool. But at the same time, what you want to do is move it to something much more healthy and long-term, and kind of work through it to get a victory in your life. That'll become a part of your story. And there are people, I talk to people all the time who have some kind of phobia, and they go, yeah, I used to. I had a fear of flying, and now I don't. And yet some people live with phobias all their life too, partly because they don't go get help.
Well, it's interesting that you guys both mentioned the same thing about there may have been some traumatic event. So I had an acquaintance just recently who just very casually asked what happened when I was a kid that caused me to be that way, because most people aren't that way. And I never, ever thought about it that way. And I never had my family talk about it that way. But I started thinking, and I have identified 2 incidences that would have caused that. And then I know the third incident that after this quote unquote went away, suppressed, what have you, that triggered it again. That's why I was just wondering if I could just deal with these. I'm not, again, maybe I would be successful in therapy. I just don't see myself being able to open up and be as honest and vulnerable in that situation. So I didn't know if there was something on my own to do.
Right.
And I'm not interested in hypnosis or what have you. I've heard of those. But anyway.
Well, actually, you're communicating really good. If you were and I were sitting together at a Starbucks having coffee, I'd want to press a little bit on those 2 issues and then the third, and see if we couldn't, kind of start there. But I think you communicate really well.
Yeah.
I think you want wellness, and so if you're sitting with the right person and you get the relationship and the safety, I think you would find that you would open up. I've had lots of people tell me that I'd never talk to anybody about these things. I can't believe I just told you that. But that's the job. I'm there specifically called to be there in those hard times with people. And there are other therapists in your area that have the same calling, that will meet you where you are and that will help you walk through this, and so that you're not walking in fear.
Yeah.
And I have just one final simple question, maybe. I've done some research on this. What I define as claustrophobia is not just the traditional of I can't be on elevators and subways and in closed spaces with no windows and the doors closed and all of that stuff. But I lump this in with it, and I don't know if there's another word for it, but I can't be restrained. Like I can't have my arms pinned down, and so I can't even be in the bed with blankets up under my chin with my arms under the blankets. I have to have the blankets off or on top of my arms on top of the blankets. So it's like pretty restrictive and restricting my life in a lot of ways. So.
And I think that there are very important reasons for that. And everybody doesn't need therapy. Some people need coaching. Some people need a group. Some people need a mentor. But there are some things that I think require therapeutic assistance. And I think that phobias are one of them, because healing is going to come in the relational context. You've got to have a safe person there with you. So one of my phobias is large bodies of water. And for a very long time, I could not swim. And then I had to learn to swim because I became a mother. And so my husband had to work with me to get me to feel confident enough to even lay down in the water, because that just seems stupid to me. It's still, when I think about it, like it's water, people. You're going to fall through it. So I still struggle with that, but I've gone on cruises. There's a process I have to go through to get on the boat, but psychologically, I'm doing the work to deal with the fact that when I was a kid, I nearly drowned. And that has made me really fearful of large bodies of water. I don't like pool parties or any of those things. So it has been restrictive, but I didn't let it restrict my family's life. My kids swim, and we've done all the things that families do in large bodies of water. But it's because I was doing work on my issue and trying not to let that issue impact the rest of my family. And I had to have a very safe person. No one could have taught me to swim but my husband. People had tried to teach me to swim all my life, but it wasn't until I let my husband teach me and we talked it through. So I believe that this requires relationship. Someone needs to come alongside you, someone you feel very safe with, that you can trust, that would not let you get hurt, because you have to believe that in that moment when you feel like you're dying because you're in this phobic position, that there's someone there that would rescue you no matter what. That will give you the freedom to be able to try it, to take the steps forward.
Does he need to go through hypnosis to?
Oh, absolutely not. Hypnosis is great for people who do it and like it and it works. But no, just talk therapy. And there are other trauma treatments, but I think for this, it's relational, and I think it's talk therapy.
Yeah, it really is. You know, one of the things with an expert is they're going to understand, because claustrophobia, it can be kind of a predisposition or even family issues as well as environmental issues. You know, Tommy, you were talking about more environmental issues. Anybody else in your family tend to go that way in terms of a predisposition toward it that you know of?
No, and I think these were very specific incidences that only happened to me, and I've validated those with my mom and my sister.
Yeah,
so
cool.
I'm confident that they happened, and I'm pretty sure that is the source of my fear. I mean, it would cause anybody to be afraid. So.
Hey, I actually think you got a shot at it, because I think if you'll talk through that with somebody, those issues, and again, sometimes it's really, really hard to do that, so you tiptoe into it. Just like Jackie, you're going to tiptoe into the water. You're not. I surf, so you wouldn't want to go surfing with me.
Never.
No,
I have no intention of ever doing that.
But you're not going to dive in. But you tiptoe into it, and you go, this wasn't so bad. I actually talked about option number 1, and this person understood and seems to be trusted. I'm gonna go to option number 2. It's not instant. Very seldom do you have instant, but you do have some wins. You go 3 steps forward and a step back, and then 5 steps forward and 4 steps back, but you still move 2 steps forward, is what I'm trying to say.
And, therapists are human too, and so if you don't find the right fit, just like with doctors, if I don't feel like my doctor listens to me, and if I don't feel safe, then I'm not going to keep seeing them. And so I would do the same thing. I would see them. I would let them know if something felt off, so that you could try to work through it. And then if that's not making anything better for you, then I would look for another therapist. But don't give up. You deserve freedom.
We've got like 800 therapists and counselors in our network that, if one doesn't work, go to another one. There's nothing wrong with that, as Jackie just said. Tommy, thanks for calling in today. I think we'll send you a copy of 100 Days to Freedom from Fear and Anxiety just for calling in to New Life Live today at 1-800-229-3000. Let's now go to Brianna, who is in Richmond, Virginia, listening on Sirius XM Channel 131. Hey, Brownie, thanks for calling in today.
Hey, good to be here, and good afternoon to you.
Yeah.
Got a different question. I think most people are aware of the vows that are made during a wedding ceremony: a vow to love, cherish, care for, till death do us part, and so forth. I know an individual who's been married twice. To my knowledge, both marriages were relatively successful, although the second one maybe not quite as fulfilling as the first, but they were widowed twice. But this individual has made it very clear that she has vowed to never marry again. Now, to who did she make that vow? Is it just to herself, to the Lord? But it seems to me that in doing that, she's pretty much blocked what the Lord might do in her life, because she has a lot of life to live yet. And who's to know what the Lord might do in her life? But yet it's sort of like the individual that is afraid to give themselves to the Lord because they might be sent to darkest Africa as a missionary. But anyway, the question of making vows to do or not to do something again. That's my question. I'm looking forward to your comments.
So, Brownie, quick question. Is this friend of yours, you said it's a woman, is it somebody that you have romantic interest in, and perhaps you've asked her out on a date or something, and she's like, nope, never going to marry again?
I could possibly, yes, but it's a total cold shoulder for basically based on that vow.
Okay. What do you guys say?
Well, Brownie, the vow might have been a nice way of saying I don't want to go out with anybody. Sometimes people can't be direct, so there's that. Secondly, I don't think that there's a problem with making vows. We do make vows, but Scripture does say it's better not to vow than to make a vow and break it. So I understand that this vow is kind of keeping you out. It's kind of gatekeeping you, and that can be frustrating.
Jim?
It depends on what she means by vow, because maybe in her heart right now she says, I've been through two very painful things. I've widowed two people here. And so there's too much pain and hurt. But that kind of a vow, I wouldn't see that as the kind of vow that we make at marriage or the kind of vow that we make in your commitment to Jesus. So it could be that she's just going, right now, I'm not ready and I'm not interested. Yeah. Those are the kinds of questions that Brownie's going to have to think through as the time goes on. Or if she truly doesn't want to be married, then she's saying what Jacqui said, not interested.
Yeah. Brownie, stay on the phone. We'll come back to you after the break here on New Life Live. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call.
Every marriage faces seasons of difficulty, and whether you're working through betrayal or feeling emotionally distant or simply just roommates, know this, you're not alone and there's hope. Renewing Love is 90 minutes. I want you to invest just this 1.5 hours. We're going to talk about how to navigate seasons of distance and disconnection with grace. We're going to give you practical steps to begin rebuilding trust after betrayal or hurt. We're going to teach you how to invite God into your marriage for healing and renewal. We're going to give you simple tools to strengthen communication and emotional connection, and steps to move forward with hope, faith, and lasting love. And it's not just information, it's an invitation to heal, to reconnect, to trust again, and discover that God can make all things new, even your marriage.
The Renewing Love Marriage webinar is Tuesday evening, September 16th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do, because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And let's go back to Brownie, who wants to buy a vowel. No, he doesn't want to buy a vow or a vowel or anything. He knows someone that made a vow not to marry again, and Brownie thinks, God might have something else in store for this person, including perhaps a relationship with Brownie. So, you still with us?
Yes, and while we were on break, I was thinking of the fact that the Lord is conscious of every statement that we make. He watches every word, and that someday we're going to have to give accounting for every word.
Yeah, he also
believers.
He also gives us the desires of our heart should we, lean into Him, right? And so
that's true.
Have you ever been married, Brownie?
Not knowing if, I've never actually heard it said, was this vow made before God, or was this vow just something that they determined in their own hearts that ain't going to do that again?
Have you ever been married before?
Oh yes, I've been widowed twice myself.
Okay.
Well, I lost both wives by cancer.
So sorry.
So sorry, and it's so hard to go through that grief. But I'm going to speak to you from a woman's perspective, because I work with a lot of women, am a woman, and do life with a lot of women. And right now, consistently, I'm talking to a lot of older women in the second half of their life who would not choose to get married again and are choosing not to date. They don't want to have to take care of someone in these latter years, and as we're getting older, that is a part of getting older. And some people want someone to do that with. Some don't. And if you've had 2 spouses die, then you have been in the caregiver role already twice. You may be choosing not to do that again because it's brutal. I mean, we just went through it with my father for the last 3 years, and I watched the wear and tear on my mother. And so I would say, Brownie, to maybe take a step back from the vow issue, and you're concerned about that vow with God, because a lot of us make vows to ourselves. I'm never going to do that again. And we make vows to God, and God we're forgiven. Jesus has already gone to the cross. So don't get stuck in the legalism of that. See the person and hear what she is trying to say. She is telling you something by saying, I vowed never to get married. And she probably said, I vowed never to get married again, because she wanted you to understand how serious she is about this, so that you can respect that boundary that she's setting.
Jim?
Right. I like what you just said, Jackie. And, and it's how we use the word vow. Because I was telling you all at the break, I made a vow not to get married right after college, and I got married right after college. Well, the vow wasn't a vow where I was like a vow to God like I did when I became a Christian, things like that. But, I probably said, boy, I vowed not to, I won't be one of those people. And I fell in love, and it was right, and God led us to do that. So we can change our mind. She may use the word vow in a different manner, but I am not ready right now. You just don't know what that means. And sure, there are vows to God, but there are also times when we say the word vow and we probably don't mean it as much. I'm not trying to give an opening to Brownie here.
And God can do anything.
Yeah.
And so if she may have that feeling right now, if God decides that marriage is what he wants for her life, he'll pursue her in that, and he'll make that change. And again, Jesus has already gone to the cross, and so she's not going to be condemned because she made this vow and then God, put her husband in front of her and touched her heart and changed her mind. That work has already been done. So again, I would just say I would see this as a boundary and just respect it,
it's really good.
And be a friend.
Yeah, good advice. You also said a scripture, Psalm 37:4. Take delight in the Lord; He'll give you the desires of your heart. I'm not sure I got 37:4 right. Whatever, I'm dyslexic sometimes when it comes to my scriptures. But our job is to take delight in the Lord, and He will give us the desires, and He knows our desires. And sometimes we don't know our desires. Yeah.
Brownie, stay on the phone just for calling in today. We want to send you a copy of the book, How We Love. We think you'll benefit from reading the book, How We Love. It's available in the newlife.com store. 1-800-229-3000 is our number. And now here is Oda in Fairfax, Virginia, listening on WAVA. Hello, Oda.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I felt identified when you started with the introduction about empty nesters, and I'm at work right now, and I started crying because our daughter, we have only one daughter, and she started college 2 weeks ago, and she's studying like 5 hours away from home. And my questions for you are, since we've been always at work, and we had a very specific routine, and she was basically occupying a lot of our time, and she has such a beautiful personality, and she was always talking at home, and we were very busy with her. And I guess my question will be, how do you try to find that joy again? And how, since I cannot say right now that we had specific hobbies that we enjoy, like how can you start thinking about that and incorporating that in your life versus adding more hours of work or adding more stuff from church? Like how can you handle that as a couple?
Well, Oda, we're so glad you called in today because Dr. Jim Burns is here. It's amazing how you just happen to be listening to the radio and Dr. Jim is talking about empty nesting, and there you are, empty nesting at home. So stay on the phone. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll continue our conversation with you and everyone else at 1-800-229-3000.
I went to Every Man's Battle in 2012. My sexual integrity was not what it should have been. I sought out affairs, whether physical or emotional. Until I came to Every Man's Battle, I didn't understand that would never fill that void.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity. Impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
The shame and guilt was overwhelming.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
You will discover what the true root of your pain is, and you will discover how to overcome.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Orange County, California, September 26th through the 28th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
Every Man's Battle saved my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And let's go back to Oda, and then we'll talk to Betty and everyone else. 1-800-229-3000 is the number. You still with us, Oda?
Yes, I do.
All right, Dr. Jim Burns.
Okay, Oda, I love your name. I love the name Oda. So there you go.
Thank you.
Oda, I think you're experiencing what most people do. And just by recognizing that, that's a good thing. Some people don't recognize it and they try to fill their life with other stuff really quickly or try to deaden some of the pain. It is painful. Sounds like you have a beautiful daughter who's making some good decisions. And yeah, she's moved on. And 5 hours is tough. Our daughter Heidi, who I talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, she was 5 hours. That's hard because you don't see her all the time. So what I tell people is, kind of embrace that you're going to experience the pain, and then figure out how to not only reinvent your life, but reinvent your relationship with your child and reinvent your relationship with your spouse. This sounds super simple, and it's not. It's simple to say. It's really hard to do, right? But what can you do to find even more meaning in your life? And you talked about, not just, add. I agree with you. We don't have to add. Sometimes if you add too quick, that doesn't work. But I know people who have found deeper friendships, like in a book I wrote on finding joy in the empty nest. I talk about some of the best friends people have ever had is after they were 50. And I think that's because they had more time to actually engage in those friendships. But also you reinvent the relationship with your daughter. It's not like you're going to not have a relationship with your daughter. It's just you're going to have to reinvent that. So you find meaning sometimes by now she doesn't need you as much, but she needs you. You're mom. And so the regular phone calls or the visits, getting in a car and driving 5 hours and, spending some time with her or whatever, all those things make a difference. And it's the process that's not easy, but it's so good. And then with a spouse, what some people have said, gosh, we needed to rekindle romance. We needed to start having date nights. We were so busy with our teen. We just put all of our time there. And so now we're going to, we've re-fallen in love, if you would, because they made that more of a priority. So I would take a long list. I know a couple who actually went on a week vacation, and they brought a yellow notebook, and they said, who do we want to be? What do we want to do? They didn't do all that stuff. It was just really a good, long, continuing conversation of making some changes. And these are the kind of people who I think really thrive, but don't expect to thrive in the next, moment, hour, day, month. It's a process of learning to find joy in other things. But again, it doesn't mean that she's left you. It's just that the relationship is now different, and she doesn't know how to be an adult, and you don't know how to parent an adult. Probably, I'm just assuming, because that was sure my life. So I think you do both. I think you learn how to effectively, be the right kind of parent for her in her adulthood, and eventually, like right now, I was thinking about my 3 daughters. My wife is kind of a mentor to all 3 of them in a beautiful way. I just saw a text today about something that Kathy had written to our youngest, the one I talked about, and it was just beautiful. It was wonderful. Well, that means that the relationship has changed, but it doesn't. But she's also not telling her to pick up her messy towels in the bathroom, or turn off the lights, because she doesn't have to do that anymore. She doesn't live at home. You know what I mean? So you reinvent that relationship, and in doing that, give yourself a lot of grace and space to grieve, because you've invested 2 decades, and especially because you have an only child. It sounds like you've invested 2 decades of your life with this kid. So again, she's not going away, but give yourself some grace that a major part of your life, or even of your heart, is now 5 hours away. And how are you going to reconstruct that? People who do that well are the people, I think, who thrive in the empty nest, along with changing the relationship they have with their adult children.
Dr. Jacqui?
I would agree.
Thank you.
Let yourself feel sad, and when you need to cry, cry. When my daughter moved away, she moved to Virginia, and we live in California. So it was a 5-hour flight. She and I both cried all that first week. I had taken the week off from work. I knew I would be useless. And so I just gave myself permission to be useless. I stayed in bed all week. I cried, and then sometimes I ate, and sometimes I didn't. But I knew I was going to feel that way. And so I let myself feel that way. It's not because I didn't want her to go. I love my son-in-law. I think it was the right choice for them. And so I'm glad that they did it. But the grief is because now my life is different, and I don't have the proximity that I used to have. And then she moved to Spain. My goodness, with a grandchild and another on the way. And so you get used to finding other ways to be with your kids. My youngest daughter now, her and her husband are considering moving to the East Coast. And he thought I would be upset with them. I'm like, I'll be sad, but you're grown. Yeah. Go live your life, do your thing. I'll come visit Delaware. So I'm not worried. And so give her the freedom to explore and to grow and to become all that God has for her to become, while at the same time being honest about being sad about it. You're sad and you're excited for her. You miss her and you hope everything is going exactly the way she wants it to. 2 things can be true at the same time.
How's your relationship with your husband, Oda?
Oh, very, very good. We even went camping this last weekend, and that was something that we used to do with her. And at some point, he started crying, saying that he misses her.
That part's hard, too. I remember my kids, we started disconnecting a little bit when they started driving, because I was carpool mom for everything. And when they started driving, that first Sunday, my husband and I were like, where do you guys want to go for dinner after church? And they were like, oh, we're going to get Little Caesars on the way home. Y'all have fun. and we were standing in the parking lot going, oh, it's over.
Oh, man.
And so I did get the benefit of getting to start that part a little early. And we started dating. We started figuring out what we wanted to do with our time instead of all of my free time going to, dance competitions and basketball tournaments and things like that.
Right. We did 9 years. My girls were cheerleaders. And so dance and whatnot. So we went to 9 years of football. And then we went, what are we going to do with our life now that we don't go to football games or whatever? And Oda, I love that your husband in front of you camping kind of broke down, that means you guys are doing it right. Yeah. Sometimes we can't make people feel better. We can just simply say, no, you're probably going through this process in a pretty healthy way because you're admitting it, you're sharing it with each other. So I think you are farther along than so many people who kind of repress it or get angry. And, it is a process. So reinvent the relationship you got 3 reinventing relationships. You, your spouse, and he sounds wonderful, and that beautiful daughter of yours. Yeah. And I think you'll do fine. Not perfect, because again, nothing goes perfect in this world. Mm-hmm. But when you're doing it the right way and you're leaning on God's help and your trust in Him, you're going to look back and say, you know what? It was a little bumpy here or there, but it worked. Because you're going through it. You didn't get stuck right there. Yeah. You're letting yourself feel. And a lot of times we think that the pain is supposed to just stop. It's not. You're going to have that, and then it's going to subside a little by little as time goes on and things change and your relationships change. So we just wish you well, and we'll be praying for you and for your daughter.
Thank you so much.
Stay on the phone, Oda. We want to send you a copy of Dr. Jim Burns' book, Finding Joy in the Empty Nest. It's available for purchase in the newlife.com store. And now that you and your husband have some free time on your hands, you guys should go to the Intimacy and Marriage Weekend Intensive. It is in October, next month, in Dallas, Texas. So check that out. We'll give you all the details when you stay on hold here. And you can go to newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out about the Intimacy in Marriage Intensive. Sounds like Oda and her husband have a great relationship, but some people listening may not have such a great relationship with their spouse. How healthy is your marriage? We've got a quiz that you can take on our website, newlife.com. Maybe it's quiet at the dinner table. Maybe there's been some betrayal. This quiz will help you gauge the strength of your marriage. newlife.com/quiz is the page to go to. And then, like I said, Dallas, Texas is the location to go to for our next Intimacy and Marriage Weekend Intensive. It's the last one of the year. Don't miss it, October 17th through the 19th. If you're more like roommates nowadays and you're tempted to see if the grass is greener on the other side, it isn't. But it is greener in Dallas, and you're taking your spouse with you to breathe new life into your marriage. Don't drag these issues into 2026. Let's address what's really dividing you and your spouse. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register and get more details, or visit newlife.com, and engaged couples are welcome to attend too. We've also got a webinar coming up about marriage. It's on September 16th. It's one of these webinars that we do for less than $20, which is crazy to me. The one that Dr. Alice Benton did a few weeks ago, less than $20, and it was an amazing 90 minutes. So this webinar that J.J. West is going to be doing on September 16th will be just as good. Find out more about it at newlife.com. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call us today here in the studio. We're going to be here for the rest of this hour and all of next, so call in. Betty, you're going to be next. We also want to talk to Julia and everyone else at 1-800-229-3000. If you're watching online, thank you so much. Make sure to click that like button on YouTube so that we can get more people engaged with the program. It's called New Life Live.
I became aware that my husband had had an affair. He was viewing porn on the computer. I was totally unaware of anything like sex addiction. Through the workshop, I truly believe my soul has been restored. The workshop educated me about what sex addiction was. It also gave me courage. I learned how to stand up for myself. Without a doubt, it was the most significant thing that I did.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Washington, D.C. November 7th to the 9th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
That workshop is where I found the tools and the people to heal from this most heartbreaking thing of my life. 1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL.
For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Your generosity makes a huge difference in the lives of people in many ways. Here's what Mike shared. New Life's teachings, radio show, podcasts, and books have truly helped keep me on track. Thanks to the ministry of New Life, I am a better husband and father. New Life can't do it alone. Come alongside us by making a financial contribution. No gift is too big or too small. Give what you can at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or give with your thumbs by texting NLM to 28950, and we'll give you 2 thumbs up. God bless you for whatever you can do. Here is Betty, who is in Allentown, Pennsylvania, listening on WBYN. Welcome, Betty, to New Life Live. Thanks for calling 1-800-229-3000.
Hi.
Hi. How can we help?
Well, I'm a senior citizen, and I have a few handicaps, but I decided that I wanted to meet again with my out-of-state part of my family, which are great-grandchildren, 2 of them, and a mother. And they came for this last weekend, overnight. That's 3 nights. And I found that the one son had ADHD. And I didn't know that until his mother told me. And I'm wondering if that was a mistake to even invite them, because he and his younger sister they spent most of the visit running around my house, running from one room to the next, and hands waving and chasing each other, and they wouldn't stop.
How old are they?
And what?
How old are they, Betty?
The second grade. One is entering 2nd grade. The other is entering 6th grade.
Okay, so like 7 and 11 maybe.
Yeah, and we went to Sunday school on Sunday, and unfortunately his grade had they weren't there. I don't know where they went, but there was no class. So he went to church with his mother and I, and she's not a Christian. And as it turned out, he sat with us, and he's had exposure before to churches and Sunday school, and he's pretty good at that. But anyway, he was very, very restless, the whole service.
Mm-hmm.
And his hands were waving, his arms were waving, he was moving around, he couldn't sit still. He's just a total ball of energy.
So what's your main question for us, Betty?
Well, the main question is, how could I ever invite them back? Would that be a mistake for me? Because I burned the pancakes because I was not paying enough attention to the cooking, and just a few things like that made my welcoming not so pleasant as I'd hoped. But they had a good time. We went swimming and visited a farm, and they had a lot of fun.
So your question is, should you have them back? And I think that's really up to you. If it was a hardship for you to have them there, then you have to maybe reconsider having them stay overnight. Maybe have them come do a day trip. People with ADHD can be very hyper, and children, like if you think about how you played as a child or how your kids played as children, they had more freedom to be outside. We had more freedom. We all did what they are doing. Mm-hmm. We were just doing it outside, away from adults, and so you didn't experience it. So right?
We had some opportunities for them to be outside.
And I'm sure while they were out there, they were running around. When we were growing up, we weren't inside until it was dark and time to bathe, eat, go to bed. And so grown-ups are having a hard time with kids around. It makes them nervous because kids are balls of energy. He's going to grow up to be an amazing man because mom's giving him the freedom to be who he is. Having ADHD is I think, a superpower. Problem for people who don't have it and don't understand it, the problem for them is it's overwhelming. It causes anxiety because it feels like this person is just moving a mile a minute and their brain is just constantly going. But as they grow, they have a large capacity to do great things if they're given permission and space to do it in ways that work better for them. And so it would be hard for you to make those adjustments, and if that's the case, then you may not want them to spend the night again. But I for their sake, I would not cut yourself out of their life. They need you. And for your sake, I would spend some more time with them, and they might get you to do some running around with them. My mother went to Indiana a few months ago, and my sister sent me a video of her playing softball. I'm like, what are you doing? But she's out there playing with her grandkids.
Hey, Mom. Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Betty, I think you're a great, wonderful grandma, and we had 4 of them this weekend at our house. And I said to Kathy when we finally got the last one out of the house to their parents, one of those kids has ADD, and actually one of the parents, one of my daughters does too. And I said to my wife, I loved this. I'm exhausted. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they care that you burnt the pancakes. I think they're going to go back and say, hey, we were at Grandma's and we went swimming and we ran around, and expect them to be fidgety. What you may want to do is even take a look at, some of the symptoms of ADHD, because you're describing a kid who, has difficulty paying close attention, of course, but that's anybody in church. I do this sometimes. My wife has hit me with it. I'm just admitting it, that, she's elbowed me at times because I'm fidgeting. And I love church and I love worship and I love our pastors, but, I can get a little fidgety.
I have a coloring Bible because of that.
Okay,
to keep me focused.
Can you send me
Yes.
one too? Okay, great. But but the point I was going to say is that's what they do. So I was with a guy yesterday, and his knee was just going up and down. He was just bouncing. And I thought to myself, oh, he has ADHD, and I wasn't having a psychological conversation with him, but I thought to myself, okay, there's a pretty good chance he's doing that while he's talking, and his hands are playing an instrument somewhere, like the drums or something. So again, that's the nature of that. Those kids need love. They need boundaries. When it comes to school, they need somebody to help coach them through that stuff. But, Jacqui said something pretty interesting. She said, the ADHD kid, you get them some help, and they are amazing leaders. There's some ADHD people who talk every day on New Life, right?
Hi there. Hello. I'm Dr. Jacqui, and I have ADHD.
Yeah.
As does my daughter.
I think the problem was, especially on the full day, was that Mom forgot to give the son his pill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
and sometimes people will take a holiday from the pill on weekends, because it really does help with academics to get your brain to slow down and focus on the thing the teacher needs you to focus on. But it's really great for them to have that free play space and let their brain just rest from the medication when they can.
Is that what ADHD is about? It's a damaged brain?
It's not damaged. It's a different brain. And so the brain of the person with ADHD has different neural pathways than a neurotypical brain, and so they see the world and experience the world differently.
Yeah, and think about this. Jacqui just said the word, Betty, neural pathways. And so our brain, let's pretend our brain, this is oversimplification, but let's say our brain is all wired. Well, sometimes with many things, and ADHD being one of them, is the wires get a little crossed. Sometimes that can be fixed. Sometimes they grow out of it. Jacqui is saying that as an adult, she still is working through some of that. I have a daughter who's still on a medication, and it really helps her. She's a teacher of junior high kids in the inner city, and she's an amazing teacher of the year, amazing. But she also forgets stuff. The kids showed up at church a couple of weeks ago without shoes because she forgot to put the shoes on the kids. Now, I'm throwing my daughter under the bus, but what I'm saying is,
I love her.
I love her too, and she's amazing. So again, you can influence these kids in great ways. Be the party time grandma, be the loving grandma, but you're going to have to understand that they're not going to sit in church very well, and they're going to run around and wave their arms.
We're going to send you a copy of Understanding and Loving Your Child with ADHD just for calling in.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.